reminiscent of the Greek Titans. The Book of Enoch says this about the women who gave birth to the first ever Nephilim giants, and they became pregnant, and they bare great giants whose height was 3,000 ells. Now, 1 ell is approximately 1.25 foot. That means 3,000 ells is approximately 11,250 feet. The Greek Titans were believed to be equally as massive. For instance, Atlas, one of the Titans, is famously known for holding up the heavens, suggesting an enormous size. Similarly, Cronus, the leader of the Titans, was often portrayed as a massive figure. The Greeks didn't have a specific measurement for their height, but they were certainly imagined as being much larger than ordinary beings, fitting their roles as primordial and elemental forces of nature. Something I must point out is how the Watchers in the Book of Enoch descended to a mountain known as Mount Hermon before they began to defile themselves with human beings. And the Greek gods resided on Mount Olympus. I can go all day making these comparisons, but let's look at the real question we're all wondering right now. Are the Greek gods actually fallen angels? Regardless of your faith, one thing we can all agree on is the fact that Greek mythology has a ton in common with biblical literature. And there clearly is a sign of influence that started these stories. Some of the Greek gods even look exactly like biblical angels. From a biblical perspective, the reason fallen angels were cast out of heaven was their desire to become like God. So when they came to earth, did their desire to be God change? Absolutely not. It actually heightened. The Book of Enoch describes how each of the fallen angels taught humanity forbidden heavenly secrets. And unsurprisingly by now, in Greek mythology, the gods were often involved in teaching or influencing humans in various ways. They provided wisdom, skills, and even moral lessons. But what came first? Greek mythology or the Bible? They were roughly created around the same time, with Greek mythology being slightly older, if we consider the earliest written forms of Greek mythology and the Old Testament. Greek mythology in written form predates the Old Testament by a few centuries. Homer's epics, which contain many Greek mythological elements, were written in the 8th century BCE, while the earliest texts of the Old Testament were written down in the 12th to 5th centuries BCE. So Greek mythology's written records are generally a bit older, though the oral traditions underlying both are harder to date precisely. However, I've personally noticed some strange things about Greek gods. For one, if we are to believe that these two beliefs are in fact connected, that would make Zeus, which is the leader of the Olympian gods, match up with Satan, which is the leader of the fallen angels in the Bible, or even Samyaza, which is the leader of the Watchers in the Book of Enoch. What I find most odd about this is the mockery.